Good time of your day, whatever time it is. It's afternoon here, so good afternoon for everybody. It's on my time frame. Just hopefully you're having a good day. Anyways, hey, so this is a long overdue video. I've done a couple sharp pulls. I talked about the new expansion that came out for the Ascension program and everything like that in this game. Some of the big things that people always sit there and have trouble with is the arena, right? As you can see, I just started out on the arena screen with all the stats and everything, right? So this was just the other day, and partly today, I have it to where I'm able to farm the arena really well, right? I know, like, I'm a mid-game player, so obviously there's this here that I haven't finished out, and it's just because I'm not even gonna lie, it's a grind. But anyways, so while I'm focusing, all right, cat, go away. I love you, but go away. Anyways, so, looking at this, right? Each one of these is going to give you your own stats and everything. When you first start out as a new player and everything, you really don't understand what stats are important. Everybody's like, yo, bro, I need attack and defense. Those are the big things, right? Well, it all depends on what you're trying to focus right off the bat. To me, right, especially in the arena section, one of the most important things that is important that I didn't try to max out at first, and you could tell if you look up here, I had a magic character right at the start, so I was working on my magic, right? But I started over here. Now this is all fine and dandy, having the attack and everything, right? So you want a good mixture of the two. The thing here is accuracy. Accuracy and resistance actually play a big part, especially in the very beginning, because in the beginning, right, a lot of people, like, you have those like really small accounts. I couldn't show you anymore right now, but if you look at here, let me pull it up. Go away. All right, so I'm gonna go to the arena, right, and I generally sit in the 4 gold and everything like that, but people put together terrible teams all the time, right? And it's nothing against them, they just don't know better, right? They get a character and then they try to play the rest, or they just don't have what everybody else has. Like, a lot of these meta characters you'll see are Prince here, or having the Arbiter, right, for speed, because you like your speed teams. There's multiple different ways to go about it. But anyways, as a beginner, as a new guy, right, a lot of the arena teams right out of the start are going to be relatively low. So what I recommend, right, coming out from the gate, is you get champions, because you're going to get your starter champions, right? So you're going to get your starter champions, and we're looking at, like, let's see, her for instance. So Elhain right here, she was my beginner. Okay, now Elhain actually has a lot of utility. A lot of people look, okay, hey, she's attack, but in all honesty, she could be support too. So if you look at her skills, right, on her A1, attacks one enemy, places an extra hit if this attack is a critical, right? Okay, so on her A1, she has a single attack, and she can get an extra hit in with that, which is good. That's why you want to max out her crit rate to 100%. But if you look at her A2 and her A3, right, we'll start off with her A3, attacks all enemies 2 times. Okay, so you're getting 2 hits off on all the enemies, right? And then over here, attacks 1 enemy, then all enemies, right? So you're going to hit 1 enemy twice, and then you're going to hit all the enemies, right? So the whole idea is that you got to think about, okay, I'm hitting all the enemies with this one ability, right? And I'm hitting all the enemies with another ability, same ability, right? So in this case here, what you could do is build her with a and it takes a little minute. You have to do the fire and night and everything like that. But if you get, and obviously you're not going to get higher grade stun sets, but get a stun set, right? Get a simple stun set, and then every time she does one of those attacks, she has an 18% chance of landing a stun debuff on every single one of them. So we're talking, boom, I throw down A2, I throw down an A3, and every one of them gets hit. Now, that's per hit, right? So she takes 2 hits on her A2, right? So you have 2 chances to stun them, right? Each one of them for 18%. So the likelihood of you stunning them all is, you know, very likely in this case, or 36% per person per that move, right? And then if you look at the A2, right, attacks 1 person, so you choose the person you definitely want stunned, and then she'll hit him and then hit them all, right? So if that's the case, she'll get a 36% chance, right? It's not really 36% if you do the math, diminishing. There's all kinds of, I mean, it's supposed to be 36%, right? If you think about it, you hit it for 18, you hit it for 18, or anything like that. But besides the point, it's, you have a higher chance of stunning the person, right? So having utility, right, is important. So this is where I'm getting at, is having the accuracy. At the very beginning of the accuracy, not many characters are going to have 300 resistance, right? They're not going to have a high resistance, right? I haven't maxed her out or anything like that. She's not, like, I just got her the other day again, okay? I have one of my other ones is maxed out, and she's at the top. I 6-starred her at the very beginning, right? This is my first one, and I'll show you how I built her. Wherever she is, this lovely, where did she go? She's over here somewhere. Dark Hellhain. No, she should be up there with my 6s. That doesn't even make sense. Why I'm looking down there. Maybe she's in my vault. Could be it. Shaman vault. Sure enough, there she is. Okay, so I built her with a lifesteal set, which is great, and crit damage, it's nice, right? Utility as far as, hey, when she goes to attack people, she's going to heal herself, which is good. You know what I'm saying? Because she's going to crit. I built her with high crit. At the time, I didn't have the gear to build her with, you know, full-blown crit rate, right? You're looking at my Elhain at the start, right? This is after a while of building her, and this is where I got to before I started getting different characters to replace her automatically. Now, so at the beginning, you want to get a character like this. If you look at your characters at the start, a lot of them have that all hit, right? So when we look at Kale, right? And Kale is actually an awesome representation because Kale here also has a poison. So if you look at his A2, attacks all enemies. A2 attacks 4 times at random. So you're going to hit 4. It could be the same character 4 times. It could hit all 4 of them once. It could hit 2 characters twice. It's going to be at random, right? And then it has a 40% chance of placing a 5% poison. Now, obviously, once you book it out, it's 50. But even if you don't have books, you're still going to hit 4 times. You're still going to hit all of them. So it's good to start out with that accuracy, right? So when you're building this up at the start, I would recommend, you know, this is my personal opinion on this, is that you build up your accuracy a bit. Because when you go in there, there's 2 things you want to have. You want to attack first, and you want to be able to lock them down, right? Those are the big things. Attack first and lock them down. All right, so you want to have speed and accuracy. All right, now you're not going to get everything in the perfect world. Like, when I look at an attack character, I want them to be able to, you know, attack, have high attack, have max crit rate, have stupid amounts of crit damage, right? And if they have an ability, I want them to have high accuracy, right? The likelihood of you getting all those stats perfect right now is slim to none. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of have to build up your utility in the sense to help you get through stuff. So accuracy is definitely important. Speed's the other thing, right? If you look at a lot of the teams in the arena, they're going to be speed teams. Heck, my team would be considered a speed team, right? But I also kind of built them kind of tanky. So if you look at it, right, you have a couple here that are not really speed teams. They might have built theirs up fast individually. Right here, speed, 100%. If she's leading, that's a speed team. Yeah, there you go, on speed team. If he's leading, Prince Kaimar, that's a speed team. Right, 9 times out of 10, if you see this little icon right here, which is saying like, hey, the lead has some speed, they're going to try to run speed on you, okay? So at the beginning, utility is important. Yes, we all want the strongest character in the world and whatnot, but that's that's the likelihood of that, being viable is none, because you got the strongest character in the world, but if he can't attack, what use is he? You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna get champions like, I think she's still part of it. Hold on, let me pull her up and everything like that. I didn't max her out either. I replaced her shortly after, but that's because I logged in every day and I really didn't play at the beginning. It was kind of hey, I was going through some stuff in life and I was taking care of other things, so this game really wasn't on the back burner. It was on the back burner a little bit. Nowadays, I love this game. I have fun with it. I play it and everything a lot, actually. I mean, obviously, I'm making content about it, so there's got to be some kind of piece to this. I'm looking for this ogre girl, and she might be in my vault too, which is funny. I recently started putting characters in the vault because I started running out of room, and you can only buy so much room sometimes. Alright, so hold on. She's probably in the vault, just chilling. Where is she at? My little ogre. Where are you at? Orc. Orc. Man, I am not finding her right now. I can't even remember her name. But she's a revive character. So you want to have a revival character. At the very beginning, a lot of times, it's just going to be, I'm going to smack you, you're going to smack me, and everything like that. A lot of them don't think about utility, having high accuracy. A lot of people come into this game and they start playing and whatnot. So you want to farm up that accuracy right off the bat. Okay, you want utility. So I use her. I used Cal. I used her, and I used my ogre wherever she is. I thought I made her 5. I could be wrong. Unless I put her in the vault and in the reserve vault, which is highly doubtful. For some reason, I just can't find it. There she is. There we go. Okay, so I used her, right? The Shaman. Okay. I got her for free at the start. I believe you still get her for free and everything. And she's great. If you look at her skills, she's got an A1 that has a 25% chance of removing a random buff from a target. So, like, for instance, you have those teams that have the unkillable thing, right? She whops them. The only thing on him is a 1 killable. That's a 25% chance to remove the unkillable buff and then just finish him off. You know what I'm saying? The second one is attacks one enemy, places a 50% crit rate buff on all allies. So it helps you supplement the crit rate that you don't have at the beginning. Alright, and then you're looking at the revive that I was talking about. Revives the ally with 50% HP and then places a shield buff equal to 20% of the target's HP. Okay, so you have a revive. Right, and I never booked her out. You could see that I never finished her out because eventually I got better champions. Right, she's nice. I don't use her a lot. You might, and that might be your thing. Whatever works for you. There's no perfect. Essentially there is meta or perfect champions and everything like that. But you got to think about it. All the stats are random, right? As far as the gear you put on. Hopefully you get a item with 4 stacks on it. And what I mean by that is if you, I got this piece right here at Epic. It's going to have 3 stats on it right off the bat. And the chance of me getting, all 3 stacks, say right here, and then that being crit rate would be amazing, right? I have 2 stacks on it. Accuracy is 33, and then I have the +3. But that's high accuracy for that piece of gear, which is awesome, right? What I'm getting at though is that I used her, the orc. I used not Kale, Elhain, and then I had an assortment of different champions based on what I needed at that time, what I had at that time, and everything. So if you got usually if you have an epic champion right off the bat, you're gonna throw it on your team, right? Your team is gonna be put together with random characters. Just remember utility and accuracy. Now for mid game, I honestly took a strategy from Ash. I went on here and I was looking, hey, arena, I need an arena team that's going to help push me and help me farm, right? So Ash, right off the bat, mentioned the daily logins champions, right? High Katoon here, all right? Phenomenal champion, right? Mine is, when I say mine's maxed out, let's see, not maxed out, but her power level is next to none. But the thing is that at the start, I didn't have any speed champions. But on her aura, she has a 19% speed in all battles. That's going to give you an advantage, right, for all your champions with their base stats. It's not going to be their combined stats. It's going to be their base stats, 19% of that. Now, looking at it, she has on her A2 fills the turn meters of all allies by 15% and then places a 30% increased speed buff on all allies. So that's going to guarantee your allies most likely will attack first. You know what I'm saying? Unless your teams are running high speed, but at the very beginning, you log in for 30 days, you got her, right? And if you build her with a speed set, so like for me, this was a lot of speed at the time. That's 260 speed. That's a lot, right? Now, it took me a while to get my speed gear. I had to combine it. I got a little perception here and everything to try to put some accuracy on her. Because at the very beginning, there's not a lot of resistance, right? There's not a lot of accuracy. There's not a lot of power behind the champions and everything like that. So like I said, speed and utility. If I get fast, if I have the fastest team, and my team throws down an attack and stuns them, now I've messed up their rotation. Now I've messed up their plan. And then I can continuously mess them up after that, right? So her, right? I threw down her. She's a phenomenal character. So you're looking at the daily login rewards, right? So the first one I got was her. And at this point in time, when I looked at this video, I already had Dark Elhane, right? And I was 180 days in, and I had Sildredrix. This champion is by far a huge asset to anybody's team whatsoever. If you get to log in every single day, Sildredrix, Dark Elhane, and Hegemon. Those were the three that I absolutely loved having on my team. My team back in the day used to be right here. So if you look at it, I had, what's her name? A Hegemon, right? So I can get my character's speed fast as possible, right? Then I had Dark Elhane. Dark Elhane was phenomenal. The reason being, she was phenomenal is I maxed out her crit rate. Okay, her crit rate and crit damage were phenomenal, but it was her abilities that really made my day here. So if you look at her A1, right, it attacks one enemy, but it decreases the target's max HP by 30%. The damage inflicted, right? You can continuously, to a certain point, remove that enemy's max HP. So a guaranteeing when you're in the arena, you're attacking, they're losing their max HP, which then makes it easier. It's less health that you got to go through, right? Because they're going to build up shields possibly. They're going to build up everything else. Some of the stuff is based off of max HP. Oh, hey, I'm going to build this shield with this skill off of max HP. Well, if I just lowered their max HP, that shield is also going to be lower, if you think about it, right? And it's going to make them easier to kill. So not only their shield will be lower, their HP is going to be lower. Easier done. Now, this next one, Death's Majesty, this is a phenomenal ability. I absolutely love this ability. This is definitely, like, when I got my epics, her, Hegemon, and my legendary, those two had to get booked out as soon as possible, right? So any books that I had went towards them. But places a 50% increased attack buff on this champion for 2 turns, then attacks all enemies, right? So she increases her attack and then attacks all enemies, and has a 50% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed. So not only are you increasing your attack, laying down the hammer on all the enemies, but you're decreasing their speed, helping that whole speed coordination. So Hegemon, boom, increased speed. Elhane, right off the bat with her A2, decreased speed, does damage. So if it doesn't wipe them out, you're definitely going to sit there and do mad damage, probably take out a couple characters. I mean, if you look at mine, her speed's like high, right? So it's 200. I almost have her crit rate maxed out at 96, right? And I still use her today in certain situations, because when it comes down to it, and I'll get to that in a minute, but I made sure her crit damage was high, right? And I wanted her accuracy to be decent. It's not perfect, right? This is not perfect. This is what I recently had to change to a couple months ago, or a few months ago when they first started coming out with this gear here, the plus 12% ignores defend, or plus 12% speed and then ignores defense by 15%, right? That's great because a lot of people, they will tell you like, hey, we should put savage gear on our characters, right? Which is phenomenal, right? But not everybody has good savage gear. Heck, I barely have a decent amount right here. You know, it's taking me a little bit of time to sit there and pick this up, get this going, right? Ignores 25% enemy defense. That's all great, but if I don't have utility to lock them down, I'm not going to sit there and put savage down. I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm going to sit there and build a character for a little more utility, because if I could stun them, slow them, stun them, slow them in concession with each other, block them from buffing, then I'm pretty set, right? So one, I gave her speed, and then there's a utility there of she's faster, and she's going to ignore like 15% of their defense. But anyways, looking at her skills, now this is where she's phenomenal, right? So it says, fills the champion's turn meter by 25% and instantly activates Death Majesty's skill whenever a champion or an ally receives a freeze debuff. This is awesome. So when you're looking at champions that do freeze, right? There's some champions out there that do freeze. The one off the top of my head, as I can think of, is the dwarf, right? So let's look at the index here, and then we'll go to the dwarves, right? All the way down here, and boom, Torment. All right, Torment right off the bat, the cold. This guy does all kinds of freeze, but I love fighting him with Dark Elhain because she will just absolutely dominate and destroy. He'll do a freeze, and then boom, instant trigger, boom. She ain't getting freeze. Your team's not getting freeze. I've seen Dark Elhain do 3 Death Majesties in a row. I'm talking froze a character, boom, Death Majesty goes off. Froze another character, boom, Death Majesty goes off. It's just in succession and just completely wipe out a team, right? I mean, it's an all attack, and it's like revenge against the freeze. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, she does absolutely phenomenal against teams that freeze your champions, right? So let's go back to her, right? So Dark Elhain, right? Looking at her skills, instantly removes, alright, her last one right here, instantly removes any freeze debuffs on this champion and replaces them with a increased crit rate. So that crit rate that I didn't have, it's already filled up, right? And then a 30% increased crit damage buff, which is phenomenal. And then a 15% strengthen buff whenever an enemy places a freeze debuff on this champion. So when this champion gets a freeze debuff, and pray that they freeze her, that's why my resistance low, especially when I go against freeze, because if they do freeze her, boom, instantly out of the freeze. Second, her crit rate and crit damage is increased. And we're talking like that's mad damage. And she gets a strengthened buff, so when she does her Death Majesty, it just does insane amounts of damage. And the other good part about this is that sometimes when she does it 3 times in a row, by the time you get to the third one, they're hanging on with a sliver of health. Like, my character is actually pretty good right now. And I use her for situations. I need to take a look at her gear a little bit more. Obviously, there's a broken set here and whatnot, but I was going for specific stats at the time, right? If you look at her if you look at the total stats on her, attack is all the way up to 3,500. Now that's decent for mid game and everything like that, but I need more, right? So eventually, I'm going to change up her gear and make her better, because there are situations where you're going to use them, right? So let's go back to the champions, right? So my main team at the start was Dark Elhain, Hegemon, and then my Scylla Drakes. Where is she at? Scylla Drakes is phenomenal for keeping your team alive. And did I throw her in the vault? Yeah, I did. Of course I did. Of course I did. She's probably in the vault. No, she's not. I'm just not seeing things the way they should be seen. All right, hold on. My brain's just not working. That's what this is. Scylla Drakes. Scylla Drakes. There you are. Oh my god. Alright, so anyways, you got Scylla Drakes here, and I mean, she's awesome, right? Just absolutely awesome, looks cool, aesthetically pleasing, right? But what I did is I put her in a regeneration step. And a lot of this I got from watching other people, you know, build their arena teams and make them the way they thought would be the best, right? And I made her based off of some of the thought process from Ash, mostly. So it was Ash that I watched his videos and built my teams, right? And he had this awesome team set up. Scylla Drakes, Katoon, and Elhain, right? And then now you have those 3. She's down for damage, right? Katoon is in there for the speed. And then if things go south, I got my Silda Drakes for regeneration. She's got a slow on here. She's got an extra stun right here, which is why accuracy is important. And you can see she was my magic resistance, or my magic character. Attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has a 20% chance of stunning the enemy, right? So I don't even have to have her in a stun set. She already does it for me, right? And it's on 3-turn cooldown. And then right here you have a revives an ally with 50%, and then places a 50% ally protection buff on. And then her passive, which is phenomenal, heals all allies by 10% of their max HP at the start of each turn. Also places a increased speed buff on a random ally for 2 turns. So this is awesome. So my team is built for speed, built for power, right? Now I need a little utility. At the start, I for some reason it's just not dawning on me, and I'm pretty sure it's because I replaced those characters a lot. I actually, you know what's funny? Actually, I think I had her, Godseeker Nari, and she was great because she had her attack, heal the ally with the lowest HP by 5% of their max HP, right? She had a decent attack. This is awesome. Attacks all enemies, heals all allies by 50% of their max HP. That decreases the duration of all buffs on enemies and increases the duration of all buffs on your allies. So you're in that arena team, boom, they're buffed. She automatically knocks some stuff off, right? At least one, all right? And we're talking like, if they have the force, no damage taken, boom, you knock that off. Now they're going to take damage. Easy stuff like that. You're messing up their rotation. And then lastly, she's got a heal over here besides the passive. Revives a dead ally with 50% and then fills her turn meter by 50% and resets all cooldowns, which is awesome. Well, awesome sauce, right? And then her passive, it says increases the amount of healing allies received by 10%. And then if an ally is about to get killed, they basically die. She auto revives them. It happens every 4 turns, right? Every 4 turns after it's booked out because it starts at 7. All right, so she was like my additional support, but I didn't really have any lockdown at the very beginning. Okay, but it is important to have that lockdown, which I didn't know about, which made farming the arena at the very start frustrating, just absolutely frustrating. Now I'm going to show you my arena team. I know this video is probably lasting a little long here, but my arena team now. Okay, so this is after a while of getting, and you can see right here, right off the bat, in the last 2 days, this is what I've done. 75 wins, 9 losses. You know what I'm saying? And that's just like, oh, hey, hell, one of these was RNG. You know what I'm saying? Like, just they got a lucky stun off or something. Whatever happened. You know what I'm saying? And I fought that same team again, and I killed them. All right, so looking at this right now, right out this gate, I'm looking at this phenomenal champion. My champions, right? We're looking at my champions, right? So I still got Silda Drakes on there, right? She's my reviver. She's got a stun. She's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Silda Drakes I use for everything. I was fortunate enough to get Skull Crown. This champion here is an amazing champion, right? So her passive, right, revives this champion. This is only if Sinesh is on the team. I don't have Sinesh on the team. But her passive right here, right, places an unkillable buff on this champion for 1 turn every time their HP drops below 20%. So now that doesn't really save you from like those one-shot, one-kill abilities, but it does save you. She gets hit, it starts dropping below 20%. Because I notice I get 1 shot from time to time, and it doesn't even activate. So it tells me that maybe those supercharged attacks that just like blow you out of the water don't allow for unkillable. It's just too fast, right? But if there's enough room for it, there's always that unkillable passive that just keeps my Skull Crown alive, which is awesome because I have her set up with counterattack, right, for her Masteries. I have her over here with the 25%. I lose HP, 25% of my HP. It has a chance, 50% chance of counterattacking, which is phenomenal, right? Her A2 is an awesome attack. Attacks all enemies. Has a 50% chance of placing. 50% chance of placing a 25% weaken debuff on the enemies, right? This does mad damage. Absolutely phenomenal. Like, I mean, if you look at her My power level, I'm not even maxed out in my Grand Hall or anything like that. I'm sitting at a 61,000, right? She is by far like one of my rocket mortars. I freaking love this champion. You know, crit rate's almost maxed out if you look at his whole stats. Crit rate, right? I always want to have, when I have my arena team, crit rate being close to 100% is possible, right? Crit damage is up to 253. Okay, I want to get it higher. Not even gonna lie. I built up with some accuracy, right? Because I want that weekend ability to land. 9 times out of 10, from what I've seen, she rocks them right out the boat, right? Obviously, her defense is going to be shoddy. So she's like a glass cannon, because if you look at her attack, it's 4,851, right? So I have it set up to just destroy my enemies and see them driven before me, all right? Now, my other one, if you look on my team, is Hegemon, right? This guy is phenomenal. He's absolutely great. You can use him as utility. You can use him as a nuker. I use him as kind of a he does nuke. He does nuke, but he's more for a utility. So I have him set up for high damage and everything like that. He's not that fast. The reason being is because his passive, which is awesome. His passive always goes first each round. Always, right? Unless there's another Hegemon. It says if multiple Hegemons are in battle, the Hegemon with the highest speed will go first, right? And then followed by the next highest. So if you have 10 Hegemons, it's going to go in order based on speed. But if there's only one, he's always going to go first, right? And then he's going to open up with attacks all allies. I'm sorry, not allies. Jeez. Attacks all enemies. That's what we want, right? Attacks all enemies, and then places a 50% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. And then also has a 50% chance of placing block active skills debuff. So, like, for instance, at the start, a lot of these speed teams, they're going to build up their shields and all kinds of skills, right? So, boom, start. Lays down shield buffs, unkillable buffs, you know, no damage buffs, whatever it is that they want to sit there and do. And they have them all racked and stacked out. Well, Hegemon, boom, start off with the bat. Beats them all down to the ground a little bit, right? And then does the block active skills. So now they're only smacking with their A1. How many A1s do you know that have, you know, puts a super awesome shield on my team, puts, you know, this, puts that, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's a single target. A lot of the times it's a single target. Maybe a couple people get hit. So it automatically locks them down to that, right? Which then automatically messes up their rotation completely, right? Other people like to do the A1. Attacks 2 enemies at random. Each has a 35% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns, right? And then you can book it out and it will go to 50%, right? The thing about that is that's nice, and a lot of people will do that. They'll have that start out with their A1 and decrease speed. But what happens if it doesn't hit their speed champion? So I like the Crippling Cold right off the bat, right? So the Crippling Cold, he breaks out from the gate, locks down their skills, and then I have Silda Drake's there. She's got a stun, right? She's got mad speed. So right after him, it's either Silda Drake's or it's and a lot of people say a lot of bad things about this champion, right? But from the start when it first came out, but this champion's phenomenal. Deliana, she has a phenomenal setup, and I put her in a stun set because guess what? A1 attacks all enemies. A2 attacks one enemies, has a 75% chance of decreasing resistance, right? That's nice. But she doesn't go for the A2. She doesn't lead with the A2, okay? She leads with the A3, right? So attacks all enemies, has a 75, oh my lord, 75% chance of placing block buffs, debuff on each enemy for 2 turns. Okay, so off the bat, they can't put down any buffs on themselves at all, right? And the thing is, it says 75, but if you book it out, it's 100. That's awesome. 100% chance block buffs, right? Heals all allies by 5% of their max HP for each block buff debuff placed by their skill. So not only is Silda Drake's healing them, but Deliana is healing them a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And then fills the champion's turn meter by 10% for each block buff debuff attempt blocked or resisted by the enemy. So if it doesn't, right, if it's blocked, it does get on there, it sets her up for her next round, right? But even then, so you get the block buffs on there, and then her A2 comes in, right? She attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of placing a 50% decreased resistance, which is awesome because if it does land, right, and we're looking at 100% chance, right, of placing a 50%. If the target is under block buffs, then it decreases. It does a spread, and all of them get that decreased resistance, right? So she's set up to decrease the resistance, allowing those stuns to hit them hard. Okay, allowing them stuns to hit them, right? From Still the Drakes and her stun, which is an 18% chance because I have her in a stun set, right? So every single attack except for the A2 is attack all enemies. Right, and if you look at her passive, increases the champion's accuracy by 2 for every 1,000 HP. Ha ha ha! Her HP is 54,000. So you do the math, right? Plus, I have her accuracy right now set to 297. 297 accuracy plus her HP accuracy. You can obviously she's gonna hit people. She's gonna do some work. Now, also, what I did was. Is because I like at this higher tier for every single one of them to have some utility, right? Even though her attack is not that high, I try to build her defense a little high. I built her with high HP, right? I gave her some speed. I was able to fortunately get a set that had also crit rate, put it in 100, and then crit damage. So now every time she's doing her moves, she's doing a little bit of damage on them, right? So the combo is for my team right now is Hegemon comes in there, blocks him down. Then either Still the Drakes or Deliana go in there and do some work. You know what I'm saying? And then lastly, the follow-up, Crown. So let's just watch this play out, right? My prediction is these guys are going to get hammered real bad. So boom, right there, automatically you see the decreased attack, the stun go in, the resistance, block buffs go in. Now, here, I'm going to pause it real fast. You see that? It took me seconds, right? Seconds. We were talking like less than 15 seconds. Their entire enemy forces were decimated. She's skill blocked. Attacks can't do anything. She can't revive anybody, right? She's stunned. Yeah, she's got a strengthen buff, but guess what? She ain't getting any more buffs. Block debuffs, right? She's got a weaken on her and a leech. I hit auto. And my Still the Drakes finishes her off. Boom. Easy day. Right? I can go down the list and I can tear up people all day. And I love seeing teams like this. Now, not every single team that's 120k is going to be a weak team. Because some of them are set up to just destroy you based on accuracy and resistance. Like you saw my Katoon. She had high speed. Stupid amounts of speed. Right? But her power was at 25, right? So look, I'll set up to battle them, right? I'm sitting at a 217 team power and everything, right? And this is just a while. Like this is after a while getting the right characters. Automatically, right off the bat, you see this. Like they just got messed up. He's blocked skills. She comes in, blocks buffs, and then she finishes them off. Easy day. And then the other thing about my Skull Crown is I have her with, and this is another thing too. A lot of people don't realize. A lot of people get those refresher trinkets and accessories and everything like that, but my champions, right, all of them are set up for counterattack. At least the majority of them are set up for counterattack. Her A1 is going to do an AoE attack on all of them, so I have all 3 of these set up for counterattack. I could put normal ones on them, right, but the utility of a counterattack, I'm going to hit all enemies every single time, and if they're above 50%, she does a secondary hit. You know what I'm saying? You can see how this grows. And look, I just went up to 5. Boom, they give you the stats, right? So that's the other thing too, is as you go up in arena, right, the stats are going to change. So your bonus stats, where's it at? Where are the bonus stats? Yay. Let's see. Maybe I'm doing this wrong. Hold on. It's probably arena rewards, right? Just go over here and pull it up. Oh no, this is the whole reward system. Well, anyways, for some reason, it's just not dawning on me. Maybe come over here, it'll tell you the stats. All right, boom, yeah. So champion bonuses, because I'm in gold 5, my champion bonuses are HP 22%, attack 22%, and defense is 22%. So these things get added onto my champions, their base stats and everything. So this is awesome because every time you go up a tier, you're going to get more stats. So you got to think about it. All the people in each tier, as they go up, they're going to have those. What's going to separate you and them is your Great Hall, the development of your Great Hall. And I'm going to tell you, accuracy is going to be one of the bigger things. And I wish I knew that from the start. Otherwise, I would have made accuracy a lot better. Since I have more Void champions, they're phenomenal. I started maxing out Void first. You want to build it around what champions you have. I mean, like, it makes no sense to sit there and build, all Spirit when you have Magic and Void. What's the point? So anyways, that is exactly what I got for you. The other thing that's going to take effect here, and this is, obviously this is very new. If you look at the awakened abilities, right? So you go to the blessings. I have one champion with some blessings on it right now, right? You go to her blessings, right? And some of these blessings, you need to read over the blessings, okay? So you need to read over the blessings. This is why, right? So Polymorph here has a chance of placing a sheep debuff on an enemy champion for 2 turns whenever they place these buffs on this champion or remove or steal buffs from them. This debuff cannot be blocked or resisted as well as placed on a boss, right? So what I'm getting at though is that they have a chance to polymorph you, okay? So these are some of the abilities you could set up, but you also need to be looking out for them when you go into the arena, okay? Now nowadays, since those abilities have come out, you're gonna have different setups. So looking at this team, right? I see the little ability right here. Now I don't know what that is. What I'm gonna do is I am gonna go over to my Bastion. I'm gonna go to we're gonna go to my champion, and I'm gonna look at blessings. It looked like a hand, right? So I'm gonna go to change blessings, right? It looked like a hand, so I'm gonna find, and it was a blue hand. So it's blue hand. Am I crazy? Hold on. I'm assuming it's this. The champion will receive less. Yeah, here we go. So the hand, all right, so hold on. All right, we're going to assume it's that because that's the hand that I saw, right? Not the same one, but the hand, nonetheless. This champion will receive less damage when under stun, freeze, sleep, fear. You know what I'm saying? Like these debuffs. They will receive less damage, which is awesome in the arena, right? Because 9 times out of 10, like I said, I'm going to use utility. I'm going to sit there and try to hemorrhage their ability to do things. So, and we're going to check this out actually. We're going to go back to the arena. And yeah, sure enough, look at that. It doesn't match any of them, right? That is a, so we go to battle. Let me see. Yeah, it's clear right here. That's what it looks like. It says some hand, right? Champions, skins. It doesn't talk about his own skill. What is this? What is this? Regal Force. Yeah, these are just his basic skills. So if these are his basic skills, it's not showing me the right picture, or it's showing me that this is the other thing too. So you gotta kind of have to cipher things out a little bit because they're probably not going to be the same. So if you look at your champion right here, I got my champion. Her skills are open. Go to her blessings, right? Change blessing. It's probably this because it was blue for one, right? So we know it's a rare skill. And you come over here. None of them look like a hand. None of them look like that hand. I mean, maybe Phantom Touch, I don't know. And then none of them look like that hand. But if you look at Chaos here, it looks like, maybe this. So, I probably should put in a ticket for that since that's an issue. But anyways, what I'm getting at, though, is that you got to keep an eye out for these new blessings and everything. But not everyone's going to have them right off the bat, and not everyone's going to have them at the start. So, just be weary of that for the time being and everything like that. And the last thing I'm going to cover, and actually this is one of the most important things, I generally don't stand 5, right? 5 is roughly at the beginning of 5, like right in here, points-wise, is when you'll see teams like this where I can sit there and go in and just hammer them out. So, like, heck, I could probably just click on this guy right here, right? Right off the bat, easy day. Like, these are, I don't even know what they were doing with this team, right? He's obviously got all his sweet buffs and everything like that, but he's about to die. Alright, so boom. Ultimate Death Knight's pretty awesome. But like, they build up teams like this. They build them up like that because they don't want to go down too low that they can't handle. They have to go climb back up. But at the same time, they want to go down enough. So my defense is set up. I only have one character. He doesn't have any gear on him. And he's definitely not ascended all the way, right? But it's because I want the enemy to beat him up and then lower me down. So the other day I was sitting at gold 3. It took me a little bit to get back up to gold 5. But if you look at it, right, gold 4 to gold 5 give you 4 badges of gold every single time. I've had 78 wins and 9 losses. That's an 89% win rate. That's great. That's phenomenal. I don't expect to win every single one, right? And then that's where the utility thing comes in too as well. But yeah, I'm going to sit there and I built my main team for every single one of these teams that I see. Like we got Santa Claus here, right? So if I go to battle Santa Claus and I'm really worried about his freeze, I'll just swap out a couple characters. Get rid of her, put her down, right? So now all my champions have a 35% HP increase, and then you have Dark Hellhain here. Now, the thing about her, remember what I said, if she gets frozen, which champion that freezes people, right? From right, he does a freeze. Yep, boom, right there on his A1. He's gonna place a freeze. What's gonna happen when he places a freeze? Well, if you look at it, Dark Hellhain, she's just gonna absolutely passive the hell out of that team and destroy them. Okay, so just take into account the different scenarios that you have. It's why it's important to know the enemy's skills or get to know the enemy's skills as much as possible, so that way you can tailor your team, because you're not going to build just one team. For right now, you probably will build a one team if you're low on skills, low on characters, low on tomes and everything like that. Then you're going to be, one team to rule them all. You know what I'm saying? For the time being, until you get some utility, until you get some variety. All right. But yeah, I think that's about it. It's really all I can give out for right now, at least off the top of my head. You know what I'm saying? I don't sit here and rehearse this. I'm giving you my personal experience. You know what I'm saying? The information that I developed from watching other people like Ash, or my own trial and error, right? These are the different things that I learned over time. All right. You can go to all the different sites and everything like that. You can do whatever you want, but at the end of the day, there's going to be certain things that you need is utility. 100%. Utility is definitely important, and speed. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.